Welcome to My Visual Existentialism on His Dark Materials, Episode 4 from Season 2, The Tower of Angels. So His Dark Materials tries to really do world building in a way that moves the plot along. I mean, good job, I just described every single TV show ever, but I think that this one does it really, really well. His Dark Materials really now starting to feel like you're a part of this world rather than just an observer, and that's what I mean. So up until now, this season has pretty much been about establishing that there are different worlds, and in these different worlds, there's a bunch of different names for things, but they're all essentially the same thing, even if they have different names. And in this episode, I think it's really reinforced that a lot of these worlds are very similar to each other. It begins with the narration that in the right hands, the subtle knife could save us all. This narration was talking about what the subtle knife did and everything. And in this episode, Will had his right hand fingers cut off. And then this was further again emphasized when he was bathing in the bathtub, almost as if to suggest he was washing his sins by accepting this responsibility as the knife bearer. The knife was placed in that chair to the right of him. Right, it could have been placed to the left, but it was placed to the right where he really wasn't able to grab it. During the episode when he was using the knife, it was in his left hand. This is almost seeming to suggest that he's more amateur with it, and the more serious he starts to get with the knife, he might be able to wield it in either or. But maybe I'm just looking into it too much. So throughout this episode, it seemed that the really big visual cuts and juxtapositions were made between the scenes where Will and Lyra were hanging out and where Scoresby and Joffrey were hanging out and talking. And any single time that any of the characters, at least the adult characters, were talking about Lyra, they all kind of had their head tilted, which is a little interesting, but I think it's kind of a visual clue as to who is together and on the side of Lyra. There was that brief talking about, this isn't about sides or anything with Joffrey and Scoresby. About, I'm not on the side of Azriel, we need him. Who knows, maybe Azriel will start turning his head right. But in any regard, it seems that the subtle knife has a really deep connection to this entire world's building, and that it's going to be really important for everyone involved and to really figure out a lot of things. By the way, that little talk about, when Lyra was like, this reminds you of this, it was the same magnet that was in that facility that cuts demons from the children. So it seems like that technology has been around for a while, even if those pighead philosophers made it a long time ago. That's why it would be there for a while. So it seems that these specters and angels are really born out of the use of the subtle knife by people in these worlds, and that whoever is the knife bearer has some kind of deep connection to these specters and angels. It seemed almost personal when Paradisi was taking the poison on top of the tower and the Spectre comes in, and I don't know how, but it felt almost as if the Spectre was disappointed that the Spectre could not be the one to kill Paradisi. Paradisi just taking his own life, and I think that was really reinforcing. He's like, no, I want to go out on my own terms. So it seems like there might be a more personal relationship that starts to get to explore. And another interesting thing about Paradisi is that the only time he was in the same exact scene with Will and Lyra, he was always standing right between him, which is then echoed again when the establishing shot inside of the top of the tower is shown. He is standing there and there are these two angel-like figures just on either side of him. Is it seeming to suggest that Will and Lyra are also angels, or maybe that they have angels within them, or that there is more going on there with the angel stuff? I don't know. There is some evidence to show this later, but could just be a visual existentialism. Or maybe it's a metaphor that angels are really just human constructs and they're not really understood what they are in this world. But all this talk about angels finally brings me to the scene between Mary and the voice on her computer. Now, exposition is something that's normally difficult to do, but I think this scene handled it really well. It felt really engaging and really interesting, and you did learn a lot about the motives of the angels and the specters and how they were and how they relate across worlds. So at the start of the video, I mentioned that there is a striking similarity between all these worlds, even if they have different names for this. This is, again, referenced when the angel is trying to describe itself and its many different forms. But visually, one thing that they really do to kind of maybe juxtapose what angels are, and what they did basically was when the specter or the voice on the computer was admitting what it was, the edit really focuses in on Mary's eyes, and there's this expression that your eyes are the windows to your soul. So is your soul something that is on the same plane as these angels, specters, or dust? Are they born of the same relation? Which again goes back to that scene where Paradise is in the tower with an angel on either side, and is it their souls? Are they angels as well? Or is everyone an angel? I don't know. We'll get there probably at some point, hopefully. So this idea of maybe angels being souls as well is really, really pushed when the angels answer from who we are, spirits, from what we do, matter. So it seems to suggest that who they are is spirits and souls and this ethereal thing, but what they do is interact with the real world, seeming to suggest that maybe souls are angels and specters as well. But then it turns dark really, really quickly with the mention of vengeance. These specters, angels, want vengeance for some reason. I think that this really ties together with what Joffrey and Scoresby were talking about in that long scene in the cabin, where it is mentioned that in the history there's always been those who try and control humans and those who give them their representation and their freedoms to make their own decisions and make their own mistakes, right? Really learn about the world, the natural curiosity that comes to be from being human. Because usually as we understand them in these myths, demons try and play into humans' curiosities and their want to explore and learn more about the world, while angels try and guide humans into this more path where they're serving the humans and a more positive effect. It's a weird way to describe it, I know, but that's the kind of way that these stories have always been represented to us. And I think that this is really shown in ways like the magistrate, which very obviously is trying to be super hyper controlling of the people and who they are and who they can be over their own souls. And then juxtaposing that with people like the witches, who have obviously their own freedoms and do whatever they want, but they have access to a very similar magic that it seems angels and specters have some access to. So is that the kind of vengeance? Like, because people have taken their souls and decided to do what they wanted with them, that they decided to be free and go into their curiosity and just really exist. Is this the reason that they want vengeance, or is the vengeance really born out of the subtle knife and that relationship between angels and the knife bearer? This brings in, there's those that have demons, and are these demons as we understand these demons right now, they are the soul of the people who they belong to, and these are kind of like their freedoms and who they are as a person. Again, with what they said at the start, from what we are, spirit, from what we do, matter. So is this another representation of them? So is this the vengeance that they are trying to seek? I don't know. There's a lot to really, really dig in and bite here. So I'm really, really excited for the rest of the episodes and to really, really see where this goes. Time will tell, though. And for now, that's just been my visual existentialism on the Tower of Angels. One of my favorite episodes so far from this series. I'm excited for the rest. Thank you for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments, I guess. Don't forget to like and subscribe, please, for more things like this. Bye. Thank you.